How are you? Welcome to DCP Talks, baby, episode number 10. How's it going? I think it's going pretty good. You know, we're starting episode 10. DCP Talks is every Friday. Comes out usually after 2 p.m. This year has been changed around. It was things that make us go home, which is still kind of crazy, but it turned around to be a writer's corner for the next two episodes. And then we're actually going to change to DCP's Cooking Corner. It's going to be the same thing, but we're going to be doing cooking videos and cooking shows. There you go. Nice and easy, right? So we'll be talking about all kinds of goodies, any information you would like. You can turn around and contact, or you can look up, my website, www.authorstephencandace.com. You can find anything on there. So you can find my Audible books. You can find my self-help. You can find my horrors, my thrillers, romances, westerns, and epics. All kinds of good, especially my Thorn's Quest, my #1 seller. Big time. Zorn's Quest books are amazing. You can do that, man. I'm going to discuss all my 60 books. And that's how it works, right? I have 60 books. I just completed number 61. That is right. We're going to talk about that book today. And I have 24 Audible books. So anything to choose from, any genre. Man, we're talking about horror, westerns, crime, romantic, epic fantasies. Man, we're just talking about anything. And you can find them anywhere. So that's the best part about it, right? But then this is my podcast, so we're going to be talking about my podcast. Okay, welcome back to my podcast where we talk a lot and still don't have all the answers. That is so true about a podcast. We talk as much as we want. We still don't have the answers. This episode is sponsored by coffee because without it, it would not be one, I promise you. And I hit it, suddenly forgot everything I planned to say. You know, when you hit record there, as anything goes, and everybody knows this. My son does movies, right? Pee-wee. That's amazing. Kiwi Productions, okay? So he does short films. And, that's hilarious. It's how many times you want something and you forget to hit record, got to go over again. You know, professionals, you have somebody to do it for you. That is their job, right? But me being the unknown where I am, okay. And, this week's books we're going to talk about The Quarter Mile, which is coming out right now. It's coming out in 2 days. Yeah, baby. It's a horror. It is a horror flick. It is a well-known happens. Okay, we're going to talk about it, right? But a gentleman friend of mine has asked some questions about it. So, because he's really intrigued about it and he wants it right now. And mine's on my way. And as usual, I suck at these things. We all want this stuff. And then what do? We forget to order it. I do. I suck at it. And then when I want it, I don't have it. And then the next book we're going to talk about is The Dark Path. The Dark Path is really cool. It's a bunch of few short stories inside there. That is on Audible, and it is narrated by Kirby McGraw. So there you go, man. You can get that on my website, www.authorstephencandace.com. Enough about that shit. So now let's go ahead and get to the books, okay? Because, the why factors is, why do I write these things? I love scary things. I don't like watching them. If you want to have a good funny, come and sit behind me during a horror flick. I don't do that at the movies no more. I scream. I'm like a little girl. The same thing is when I used to be able to ride roller coasters, okay? I'm a heart patient. I just can't do it any longer. But we used to sit in the first car. That was my rule. Hands up, scream bloody murder. Oh, my Lord. People used to follow me around to sit behind me. Oh, yeah, it was awesome. Because I'm not afraid. I don't give a frick to show my emotion out there. Man, are you nuts? I'm scared. And if it scares me, I'm going to scream. That's it. I make my wife jump so much during scary movies or people around me. They're like, man, because of me, right? So We're going to get right to it. Like horror flicks are amazing. And Dark Path has so many twists, and there's a few horror shit in there, suspense, thriller. It is a gimme. It's got 4 good stories in it, man. I'm telling you, man. Twists and turns at every turn. And it's one of those books that just, you want to do it. I heard somebody say this yesterday. I had to have a medical appointment yesterday. And the girl who was doing the procedure, per se, it was an ultrasound, big deal. So the girl afterwards asked her if she likes to read. She goes, "No, I don't." She goes, "But I listen to books." And I said, "Oh, do you?" And her exact words were, "Especially when I do my crafts." So while I'm doing my needle pointing or whatever she said she was doing with the needle, she says that's when she listens to her Audible. She goes, it makes her get into a groove. Now, there you go. So someone is given a good clue about an Audible. There you go. So let's get to our friend, Mr. Stk Filet, a chef from New York City. And I have a few questions, he says, about the quarter mile. Well, let's get to it. He's seen the cover, and he really is intrigued when he read the thing. You have 1,320 feet to survive. Okay, that's what it comes down to. And what it comes down to in this book is that there is a lot of shit that goes wrong. That's all I can say. People, get trapped in this fog. They feel they have to leave. Why people leave their cars, I've never knew that shit. But people feel they have to leave sometimes. Well, they get trapped in this fog, and then shit happens in this fog. Then people come to help, and then more stuff happens. So, it is a twist and turns at every man. So his question is the fog a natural phenomenon or something supernatural? No, it's actually there is a reason for this fog, as you have to find out. And so it is one of those things where, nope, it's not a supernatural. Who is the first person to realize the danger of the fog? That is really funny question that he asked there, because when people go into a scary situation, why do they keep going? Why wouldn't you stop, turn around? In this case, these people, everybody that is in this book that has happened, has been driving down a highway, and then they are in the fog without realizing it until they're too deep, and they can't seem to find their way out. That's how basically it happened. So the first person to really realize the danger of it was Sheriff Miles Davis. He was the first person. And that was after 88 people didn't realize what it was. Is there a leader amongst the trap group, or does chaos take over? It's always funny about it how there are natural born leaders. I'm a natural born leader. I've always been in a position to be in management. It's just always happened. Same as my sisters, same as my cousins. They all own businesses. My family, my sons and daughters are all in management. It's funny, eh? Yeah, it is kind of weird. Or they own their own business. Like, it's just what it is. So to me, it is one of those things where, it's let's see. How do different characters react to being trapped? Always. Everybody reacts differently. Make sure you remember that. Make sure you remember that in this book, fear is the number one factor. I'm serious. Fear is the number one factor. Fear will outconquer anything anybody can say or do. If they're scared, they won't do it. If they're scared, they won't move. If they think they're going to die, what do you think they are thinking in their mind? We don't put ourselves in their mind. We couldn't get there. Now, when the question was, do people feel, is there always a leader? There's always a leader comes out. Always. There's 2 leaders in the groups. Gino was in one group, and then Rick's with the group. And then you also have, there's also going to be Joe. There's also going to be a few leaders, but it just happens. That's all. Jer's a leader in this one group. It's just the way it works out. People seem to follow people. People don't like making decisions. Make sure you remember that in the business world. Employees don't like making decisions. Just tell them what to do. It's easier. True. And what personal fears does each character confront within the fog? Man, when you're in the dark and you can't go nowhere, there's a lot of fear. And every person reacts differently in this situation. I promise you. Every single person reacts differently. Does anyone begin to change mentally, physically because of fog? Oh, yeah, mentally? Oh, yeah. Fear will bring out the best of people. We all should remember that. Fear will bring out the best of people. And I'm telling you, I've seen it myself. I've seen it in myself. I'm not one of those people to run past people and run them over and shit like that. No. But I am one to get where I need to go in the right amount of time. If I have to run around people, if I have to pass your ass, if I have to push you out of my way, but I will not just push you down and run on your back. I won't do that. Let's see. Now, what personal fears does each confront within the fog? Oh, man, let me tell you, there's anxiety. There's the fear of darkness. And then there's going to be a fear of what is coming in the fog. I think what's happening is in the first 100, over half the book, really be honest with you, it is basically a lot of fear of the unknown, which is the greatest fear of all, by the way. The fear of the unknown is the greatest fear. Just remember that. That's why you have to conquer it. Does anyone change me? Oh, yeah, they all do because the horror elements. What unseen horrors lurk in the fog? Oh, there is a deadly horror that's going to be unleashed in the fog. So read it, find out. Are the threats inside the fog imaged or both? Real or imaged or both? Well, that's just it. Like I said, fear is the biggest conqueror. Fear is a conquering about anybody, man. So at first, I would say, yeah, at first it's imagined, and then it becomes real fast. How does the fog manipulate senses, sound, sight? Man, when you can't see nothing, really smell nothing, you're screwed. And then when the people go to help, now they have hazmat suits and stuff because of the fog, right? And they don't know what's in the fog. Now, and then it becomes a completely different story. So, I mean, hey. What's the most terrifying moment in this story? Oh, let me tell you. When they wake up. Oh! No, I don't know. There's a lot of things in this book that are pretty spooky, especially the ending is a good twist. What does the fog symbolize in a quarter mile? Well, the reason why is the fog is only contained with a quarter mile radius so far. There's a reason. And therefore, it has to be contained, or otherwise it could spread if it continues, right? Like anything else in the world. Does the story explain human nature under pressure of fear? Oh, hell yeah. There's a lot of explanation of why people are stupid or why people do what they do. And then survival, strengths, intelligence, or luck. When it comes to survival, there ain't no skill in running on your ass and trying to think. Yes, if you're tough, if you know karate, if you know martial arts, if you know MMA, if you know all these moves, it will help you at one point. But when someone's scared and there's 100 people running, what do you think? You think that's going to help you when you turn around and go, yeah? No, that shit, you're running with everybody else until it's time to brawl. Then you can stand on your own. That's true. Okay, does this ending answers or leave a mystery behind? Well, actually, the questions about the fog are all answered. The questions about the fog are all answered. And is the mystery left behind? Well, I mean, the questions about the fog are answered. But like I said, do they find everything out? I don't know. Could the fog return? Well, if people don't take care of certain situations, Yes, but I doubt it. The fog should not return in this source. All right. Well, there you go. Well, thank you, Mr. Stk Filet, about the quarter mile. Let's check that out one more time. Hey, there you go, boys and girls. I do have Kiwi Productions, though. They are working on a new cover for me. So this cover will be out until the new cover comes blending in. Once that cover comes in, baby, then we are golden with the new one, all right? All right. Let's get a little drink of coffee. Now, Mr. T. Queravo, he actually really liked the first story in The Dark Path. And he was about to get to the other two when he sent me and said, listen, I got to ask you some questions about The Dark Path before I get really deep into it. And I said, sure, go right ahead. Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it? You got to like that when someone does that. So, what connects the stories in The Dark Path? Well, really, you know what it is? All the stories, I have a really shitty habit of combining people into different stories. And in all these books, there's a couple except for one book. So out of 4 books, 3 books, there's a couple that has been in every book. So they don't, okay, you're going to find that when I write completely about, like with Escape, okay? With Escape is about a prison, a guy that has to go to prison. With Diesel, there's a dog, okay, that the paranormal kicks in. So there's different ways of writing, but different ways of bringing people into a story. And that's why, because they're actually in 5 different books until the last book, Sleepy Waters Campground. So, I mean, Mike and Mindy, I'll just tell you who they are. So when you see their name, you'll be like, oh, I know Mike and Mindy. What other book are they in? Oh, they're in that book too. Very short little scenes, but like anything else, a cameo, they get in, they get out, but there's a reason why they're there. Hey! So all these 4 stories, what connects them? They're all twists and turns, and they're all really books I like because of just, they're the beginning books. They're the books of my, beginning after my first 2 years of writing. Then I started to think outside the box more. And then that's what it is. So, why is the book called The Dark Path? Because everybody has a dark path that they have to go down. Everybody. I have a dark path. You have a dark path. We all have a path that we do not like to go down. And the dark path is that one. Does each story take place in the same world? The same Earth world? Yes. The same time frames? Maybe not. And are they close together? Well, the funny part is, all of my books, if anybody realizes, Beamer Falls is where everything seems to take place. Evil and everything lurks in Beamer Falls. And I have used Beamer Falls for years. And Beamer Falls is, I guess you would say, around Beamer Falls, surrounding areas. Escape is different. He has to travel. But yeah, there's been a lot. No, they're same world, but different places. Okay. Is there a hidden message link in all 4 stories? No, not at all. I'm starting to get better with that. I'm starting to get better with putting names in different books to make you think about that book as well. Life on the Prairie is one of the things, One Family's Journey. There's 3 books. And then John Tillis, he's in 2 of those books. His name comes up. So therefore, now you get to know. And then in John Tillis, he mentions Laura Jenkins in book 2 Under the Colorado Moon. So therefore, I kind of coincide them together. You know what I mean? So that's coming, right? So there we go. Which story is the scariest? It depends how you look at it. I would say Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Oh, yeah. 13 Roses. That's a beauty. That is a deadly little book. That could be a movie out there, which would be a scary thriller. And man, and it can continue, by the way. That's the scary part. So, it is something that is deadly. It kills a whole town. So therefore, there you go. I gave you something fucking to read about right there, man. It kills a whole town. I don't know about you, but that's something deadly, okay, when we're talking about that. So that's a good masterpiece theater, I think I call it. Does each story build on the... No, not at all, like I said before. Is the final story the most important? No. Actually, you know what's funny is when I put stories together for books, I just write them. I am going to change, though. I will not lie. I am going to be doing more of spring, summer, winter, fall style, more of a 4-season, more of a 4 type of year kind of thing. I think so. I think because, you know what, there's a lot of good ways to, because that's what I write. What I write right now is I'm writing a Bachelor. Okay, yes, I'm writing The Bachelor Getaway Masquerade, or The Bachelor Party Masquerade. I am so sorry. And that book is being done in the summer. It's a fun book. So then my winter books are my, journey books, are my, horror books. Summertime is fun. Springtime is let's get out there. Yes, this horror book, but I just finished it. It's done. So therefore, hey, it's done already. So there we go. So let's see where we are going to do. See, is the ending connected? Nope, we already talked about that. Do any characters appear? We already talked about that. Is the horror is the most common psychological or natural? You know what? I think both. I think a good horror film messes you up psychologically. And then when supernatural shit hits, it just makes it worse. That's all. Are the threats real in all the books? Some are imagined and some are real. What's the darkest moment in the book? Well, let's see. I would say the darkest moment is probably whenever let's just say Diesel can turn when he turns. That's all. When he turns on his own people. That's not nice because he shouldn't be. But dogs are animals. You got to remember they're only... Hey, what does dark path symbolize? It symbolizes the dark side in all of us, which we have to go down. There are times we have to go down something dark, and we have to face our worst fear. We have to do it. I'm going through it this year where I'm going to have to make a decision. Well, guess what? You make a decision and you live with it. Once you decide, and I had a few wives out there, and my first wife used to always say, make a decision and stick with it, and you'll always be successful with it. So there you go. That's what's going to happen. Now, is there a moral lesson in any of these stories? No. When I wrote them, I just wrote them because carefree. I mean, a guy's in prison. I had to come up with what's going down in prison. So yes, I've watched a few movies in my days about people escaping prisons. You know what I mean? I watched the series Prison Break, and that was like 10 years ago. 15 years ago before I wrote the story. So, the story came to me like all my stories do in one night. One day there's a thought. My son would tell you that. All of a sudden I said, that's a great book. He goes, what is? And I thought of the name and he goes, that does sound cool. It just happens. John Tillis came to me just like that. The Quarter Mile came to me in the middle of the night. So therefore, that's what it is. All right, so now we're going to get out of, thank you, Mr. Queravo, for all those little questions about The Dark Half. I hope you guys check it out, The Dark Half, on Audible by Kirby McGraw. All righty, now let's get to Author's Corner, man. We got Author's Corner. We have our Quarter Mile, which came out this week. We just went over. But the new books we are working on. We are working on right now The Bachelor Party Masquerade. This book is going to be hilarious comedy about Steve is going to be getting married for the 5th time. And everyone in the family and all who's going is flying down to Key West, Florida for the wedding in 8 days. There you go. Now, 10 years ago, Steve, Mike, Bill, and Sven with Chris went to Mardi Gras. And they had a really good time. Well, Chris and Mike come up with the idea is why don't we go back to Mardi Gras? Well, this time we're bringing Jared, the son-in-law. So therefore, there's going to be the 6 of them, and they're going to be going down to Mardi Gras first to spend 2 days, and then they are flying down to Key West. All I can say is there's going to be a hilarious comedy with some fun and then some good twists and turns. And how these boys react is going to be the best of all. And the best part is a lot of this is when I actually went to a Mardi Gras with my boys. And this is going to be a lot about that because we had a ball. And it was a lot of fun. So therefore, that was what we're going to talk about. I'm starting that book. I've already started it this week. The Quarter Mile is coming out by Friday. The Tales of Astrid and Borg, the Viking's Tale, is being heavily started into. I have over 100 pages into that, so I'm going to start rocking that. It's probably I'm not even halfway done. It's not even a quarter. It's probably a quarter done. And there we go. Now we're going to get to our Writer's Corner, DCP's Writer Corner. There we go. So we're going to talk about, if you remember, we talked about starting a book. Now, we talked about starting a book. We talked about know your idea, define the main focus, plan your opening, usually 3 pages, basic story structure, easy version, and then use this for each chapter, which means you're setting your problem, your reaction, and your cliffhanger. Then we did week 2, build a character. So the tip to build a character is usually a goal, a flaw, transforming them during the story. Now, then we went to how to start a chapter, strong openings. Then it was 5 easy ways to start a chapter. Give enough to make readers curious, if you remember, okay? Remember the quick rule. A chapter should start with something happening and a question. Or a question. Just remember that. Simple book outlines, 3-act structure, if you remember. Remember we talked about villain characters, romantic character outline. The tips were make sure your characters usually have emotional wounds, personal growth, or meaningful connections. Always remember that. We talked about the Final Fantasy, you like that shit, about fantasy characters, right? They should have a quest. Are they in a magical world? Do they have personal growth? There's 5 ways then we talked about to customize a chapter. So we did pretty good in week 3, okay? So we actually crushed that one pretty good. So when we're talking about customizing a chapter, there's pro tips is take each chapter like it's a mini story. That's what I try to do. I try to fit a little story into a story. And then what we're going to do this week. This week we are going to plan your manuscript. Because now that you've already done all that, you're going to put all that together now, right? And then we're going to plan on organizing your manuscript. So when you organize your manuscript, you want to put 4 stories in the correct order. So you got to decide on the title page, the table of contents, optional but good for multiple stories. You got to use Microsoft Word or Google Docs. The formatting basics is text, numeral, or gram amount. The font size should be 11 to 12. And the line spacing should be 1.5 or 1.15 to 1.5. There should be indents for paragraphs, chapter, story, title, centered, and bold. There we go. Now that's just your first outline. We're going to go over that again. I turned around and was thinking about that because when I put my stories together, this is exactly my format. The only difference is I'm a senior. I've got bad eyes. So I do my font 12 or 13. That's what I do. I don't do 11. I have bad eyes. So, and my books that I've had commented on that they love the bigger font. Now, it is what it is. But I just did a book with 12. I'm going to try it out again before I do the next book first, if I'm going to do 13 or whatever. But normally, let's do it again. You want to organize your manuscript, put all 4 stories in the correct mode. You got to decide on the title page. You got a table of contents if you want to do it. You want to use Microsoft Docs. Microsoft Word or Google Docs. I use Microsoft Docs. That's what I use. I always send my books in docs. There used to be rich text you can use as well. That's a fact. I know it already. I can tell you the answer. I've done enough books. So I use Microsoft Word Docs. It is the best. That's all I'll tell you right now. And any program takes it, by the way. Any of my program takes it. So therefore, it's the best way to go. You want to use Times New Roman. Wow. Times New Roman or Grammar. I never use Grammar. I always use Times New Roman, always. It's just a better, only, and then when I do my chapter titles, I may change it to footnote or something different. Otherwise than that, no. It's always Times New Roman, always. The font size they're telling you to use is 11 and 12, which would make sense. I like 12 or 13, personally. That's me. The line spacing, 1.5, I use. I don't use 1.1. I never thought about 1.1. I should try that. That could be different. The indent paragraphs always, chapters always. Now, we're going to get to create your cover. So when you create your cover, like my title, The Dark Path, per se, you want to add your name. You want to use dark if it's horror image, shadows. You can do anything like that. So we're just going to go with horror for the now, just so you know. So you can use Canva, which is easy, Photoshop Advanced. And what you want to do then is you want to make that image come forward. And then you want to get feedback. Ask your friends, ask your family. I do this all the time. Do you like this cover? They don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm like, what do you think? And I asked another one, what do you think? Oh, what do you think? Hey, why? Okay, then you got to ask yourself when you look at your cover, was anything confusing about it? Will anybody look at it and say, I don't know what this is? What's the scariest part? And use their feedback to improve it. I mean, come on, man. Be smart about it. Then your final proofread, after you get your cover, then you're going to final proofread it. That's what I always do. Then you go through one last time, which is what I'm doing with the quarter mile. I have to reread it one more time. So when people don't say authors don't read books, we read more than anybody out there because we have to read each one of our books at least 2 or 3 times without anybody realizing it. You are constantly reading chapters. You're constantly reading. We can read fast. There's very few authors out there I don't know that can't read fast. I can get through 200 pages in really 3 hours max time, and that's a max time. I can blow through it really fast. It's just what it is. To me, I just read. So proofreading one last time, fix your mistakes, whatever you do. My sister she's my nemesis, I swear. She will read a book and go, hey, Pichu, page 83, there's a word, it doesn't look right. Piss off. No, I'm like, you know what I mean? But still. Thank you, because now you can fix it. You don't want readers. It's funny, I read books out there with mistakes and didn't think anything of it at first, but you think about it. Like Perfect Storm had a mistake, a couple. And there was another book that had a couple, and I was like, why do these books have mistakes if they're at a publisher? But people are human. And if you're not letting AI take over, which I'm not, because I don't believe in AI, I believe in AI for certain things. I don't believe in them for writing and songs, writing books and shit like that. No. So to me, no. Make sure everything looks clean and professional. You got to go through every page several times to make sure everything is clean and professional. And that's it. Then you want to publish it. You want to publish it and share. You have options out there. You have digital to upload. You have Amazon Kindle. You have Wattpad, free sharing. You have PDF to share with readers. You can print it on Amazon Kindle or your local printing services. Then you promote it. So when you promote it, then you're talking about use questions as engage your posts. See, I like to do that. I like to do a lot of that stuff with TikTok. I am a TikTok guru with my shit. I am a TikTok guru. Share quotes from other stories. I share quotes from everybody else around the world when they tell me. So we're going to go over all this real fast again, guys. I gave it to you. So we're going to bypass with start your book, build a character, build your chapters, and then we customized your chapters, right? All right. So let's get to dun 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 dun. All right, here we go now. Organizing your manuscript. Perfect. Takes a minute to get there, but my brain can only go so fast, I promise you. Now, when you organize a chapter, you got to decide on the title page. You got to decide if you're going to have a table, contents, or not. Always use Microsoft Word or Google Docs. I use Microsoft Docs. It's what I use. It's the best. I've used it for 12 years, and it has never failed me yet. I used to use rich text. You can also use, never failed me either. But I noticed with Docs, Microsoft, it doesn't change. Nothing ever changes. It always locks in. The formatting should be Times New Roman or Garamond. Size, font size should be, they say 11 and 12. I say 12, 13, but it's up to you. This is your choice. 11 and 12 is what they say we should use. I like 12, 13 because I'm an old guy. That's all. And line spacing should be 1.5. They say 1.1 to 1.5. I'm going to actually try 1.15 today to see how it looks. Why not, right? Indent paragraphs. We have chapter, story, titles, centered and bold. Yes. I like to put my chapters over to the right. I used to put them over to the left. Now, these last few books, because there's not as many chapters, I bold it right in the front into the middle. Then we're going to create a cover. So I use the dark path naturally. Since it's horror, I went with the dark cover. I went with fog, shadows. Oh, it's a good cover too, man. It's a dude walking downstairs wow, it's a good gray and black cover. It's a good spook cover. Now, you can use these with Canva, Photoshop, if you're an expert. Get feedback. Ask your family and friends what they like. I do it all the time. Okay, hey, was anything confusing in it? Was there a scary part? Did something not fit? There you go. That's the cover. Then you're going to final proof it. So, go through it one last time, fix your small mistakes, make sure everything looks clean and professional. Just remember one thing. When you submit it and you put it through for a book, when they take it and it comes back, some of the stuff may not be in the correct places. You're going to have to go through it, see what pages, write them down, go back to your book, redo it, and do it over. And just send it in the manuscript. Easy peasy, I promise you. Then you're going to publish it and share it. You have options: digital upload, Kindle publishing, and Wattpad. I've never heard of that one there, but PDF and share to readers. You can do that, and you can use Amazon Kindle to print it or use your other services, whatever you want. Then you promote it. Push your books. I use TikTok and Instagram. I am a guru with books. I've shared over 1,500 videos about my books. There you go. Now, we're going to bypass that. I hope you guys got everything. Next week's going to be the last week about Steve's Writing Corner. Then we're going to get to, basically, it's going to be to DCP's Cooking Corner, baby. Do some recipes up. We're going to do the podcast live and do some recipes. That's what we're going to do. We're going to figure all this out, get it done, have a good time. And there we go. I got to give my shout out to all my peeps. What up there, Miss Ashley K? We got Mr. Svensky from Kiwi Productions. We got Shay from Sparkle and Soar. What's up, Mr. Gayman family and the Moody's and all my peeps out there. Holler, and there we go. Now, I'm going to leave you with, podcast is 50% ideas and 50% figuring out what we're going to go or how we're going to say it. It's so true. It's a lot of thinking and messing us. If confidence had a sound, it would be this mic. Even when I'm wrong, let me tell you what, you still go through it because you don't have a choice. When you make a mistake, live through it. Just keep going. Podcast is where talking to yourself becomes content. You just got to love talking about you. And I love talking to myself. I love to be heard. I talk to myself all day long around the house. I might as well put a mic in front of me, right? If it sounds smooth, just know there were 10 restarts before this. It used to be that way. Now it's not that way. Now you have learned to get in front of a mic and you learn just to talk. You learn just to get out there and do it. And, that's just how it works, baby. I'm going to leave you with this week's quote of the week. And I put them in all my books. And this week's quote is, you only fail when you stop trying. You only fail when you stop trying. Thank you, ALK Artwork. Thank you very much for that little quote of the week. Please note I will provide feedback from both sides, devil advocate, all that shit. Just give it to me, baby. There you go. We will, you can, send it to www.authorstephencandace@gmail.com. Wow. authorstephencandace@gmail.com. That was so crazy, okay? Thank you so much. We're going to do this. Oh, there it is there. You can send your feedback at authorstephencandace@gmail.com. Woo! Check out my website, www.authorstephencandace.com, baby. Plenty of books, plenty of audibles. I got 2 new books just came out, baby. John Tillis and A Quarter Mile, baby. Now, we will talk to you soon. If there's anything you want to talk about, just ask. Holla and have a great day. Looking forward to the next adventure on DCP Talks is out.